Hey guys, this is probably gonna be one of my most conditional builds I have ever done. It has some really cool ideas inside this build, but it is more of an experimental build just to test waters, and I think it does have a potential. So if someone decides that this is an interesting idea, I think you can squeeze out more out of this idea. It's not really gonna be about the build itself, it's gonna be about the mechanics of the build that I was using. So the main idea of this build is the Black Cane and Forbidden Shako, which gives up to level 35 summon Phantasms. The whole concept of it is the higher level your summon Phantasms are, the more flat physical damage to spells you're gonna be getting per summon Phantasm. And normally you could get like level 23 summon Phantasms, maybe at most, maybe 25 at most, because scaling support gem levels is much harder. But Forbidden Shako just straight up gives you up to level 35 summon Phantasm. So you are getting with level 34 summon Phantasms, you are getting 741 to 1131 flat physical damage to spells. And that is a lot. That is, I believe, like twice more than level 21 summon Phantasm would. Instead of 11 Phantasms, now you can summon up to 13 Phantasms. So essentially you can take any spell you want and pretty much just play with this, because you're gonna be getting so much flat physical damage that you can either convert that physical damage into pure elemental damage. You can do like Trinity build, which I tried doing Trinity, but in the end it was just way too conditional. I'm gonna explain why. Or you can just play pure physical, maybe like Bladefall, Blade Blast. I tried those, didn't like at all. Now another thing why I say that this is one of the most conditional builds ever, because I tried doing, at first it was Voltal Dead, I tried doing with the Trinity. And this is also Guardian. So Guardian also summons 3 elemental relics, which essentially grant you like level 27 elemental auras like Wrath, Hatred and Anger. Hatred also scales really well with the physical damage that you are getting. I am also converting the damage with the gloves into cold, and I am using physical to lighting support in my main setup to convert the remaining damage into elemental. So Trinity was working fine, but only if I have pretty much maximum Phantasms, because if I don't have Phantasms, then I don't have any physical damage, and I pretty much just do a bit of lightning damage and mostly fire, so Trinity wouldn't ramp up. Another trick is you probably don't want to use your main skills inside the helmet, because the helmet only gives one good support gem, and then the second support is usually either wasted completely or is just very low level and doesn't grant you that much. The question is, how do you automate it, or what do you use to automate this Phantasm summoning? I have actually 3 things that sort of automate it. One thing is ball lighting on cast and damage taken inside the helmet. Summon Phantasms has 20% chance on hit against rare and uniques to summon Phantasm. So that's very low chance, considering that I need 13 Phantasms against single target. That alone is not gonna work. Then I also have Herald of Thunder with the Storm Secret Ring, and I do shock because I'm doing all the elemental damage, and I do shock, and once that happens, the Herald of Thunder hits 6 times per second, and essentially it is linked to the Phantasm. So it will eventually either kill normal enemies, and level 34 believe summon Phantasms have like around 80% chance to summon Phantasm on kill. So it is very high chance on kill, even if it's just random kills. Herald of Thunder with the Storm Secret kind of works well, especially against bosses. You just need to shock the boss. But the problem is that in order to shock the boss, you need lightning damage. In order to get lightning damage, you need physical damage, because you convert the physical into lighting. So it kind of becomes like a loop, like a time paradox. In order for one thing to happen, the second thing needs to happen. But in order for the second thing to happen, the first thing had to happen. So it kind of becomes a bit convoluted. So then I also added Herald of Purity inside the helmet, which is also linked to Phantasm. And the Herald of Purity, you summon a Herald of Purity on hit with your own spells, and then the Herald of Purity on hit will summon the Phantasm. So it's like condition on the condition, the chance to summon on the chance to summon on the chance to hit. The ramp up time can become pretty annoying, but with all those things combined, it actually against single target feels kind of okay. But in the end, I wouldn't really be doing this kind of conditional thing against bossing. Against bossing, it was kind of okay, and the damage was actually pretty decent. With everything combined, with all the custom modifiers added for the elemental relics, I was actually checking all the different skills. The Incinerate turns out to have the most damage at maximum stages while channeling. But for clear speed, Incinerate felt really bad, so I still added cast while channeling Volatile Dead. Cast while channeling Volatile Dead just feels great for clear speed, but still, you are channeling and you're gonna be vulnerable while standing still. This build can survive quite a bit because of Guardian. Sentinel of Radiance absorbs the damage. I also did not finish adding all the tattoos. I actually thought that these tattoos are one of the worst, but if you use 2 or even 3 heralds, then these tattoos become actually good, because most of the base damage is physical, so even a Herald of Purity buff effect will give you more damage than a Herald of Ash buff effect, because you're doing physical, so physical has extra fire, and then Herald of Thunder just flat added lightning damage. So yeah, everything combined is actually stacking pretty well. Now, next conditional thing that I decided to add, Yoke of Suffering. Because I wanted shocks, and with Yoke of Suffering, your elemental damage can shock. So essentially, when I combine all the elemental damage, it actually can shock even like Guardians for like 27%. Well, that was with just Incinerate alone. I also need to shock, ignite, and chill, and sometimes even freeze, which do happen, but I don't have very high chance to proc those ailments. I believe it's like 25% only. It may actually be a bit better for lighting, because I got Storm Secret, and Yoke of Suffering also has chance to shock. So yeah, and on top of that, if you want to play with Trinity, like I said, in order for Trinity to work, you need lightning damage, and in order to get lightning damage, you need physical damage, and in order to get physical damage, you need Phantasms. So until you get Phantasms, you're not really gonna be getting Trinity. It's just not gonna work. So other ideas could be like go like not Guardian, less conditional things, and maybe just a single conversion. Maybe just conversion into fire or into pretty much any other element that you want. I would be very interested to hear your ideas, how you would automate this, Forbidden Shako and summoning Phantasms with the Blackane, and what uses do you think would work the best? Because I feel like this has a lot more potential than I shown in this video, because like I said, this is just like the first concept. Also, by the way, to get a lot of life, I'm using Utula's Hunger. I'm just gonna go quickly over my items. Utula's Hunger, so I use all the items that do not have any life modifiers. Yoke of Suffering works well with that. Storm Secret works well with that. The Circle Ring works well with that for Herald of Ash. I am also using the Kilova's Bluster. I feel like I am tankier than I normally should be. And I think that's the reason why, because this is at a 9% chance for elemental resistances to count as being 90% against enemy hits. And also it does have pretty high block chance, and I do another conditional thing. In order to cap my block chance, I need to cast spells, which is one on left click and obviously like Incinerate. And also just shield charge. So I need to shield charge I believe, every 4 seconds. I need to shield charge at least once and cast at least one spell. That's how I also cap my block chance. I'm actually using invert enemy resistances because it would be pretty much impossible to get triple exposure, and if I cannot get exposure, just using elemental weakness isn't really that great. So I am not getting exposure, I'm not using elemental weakness, I'm using invert enemy resistances node, and I'm also using punishment curse, but that one only works against enemies on low life. Now, to summon corpses against single target, you can just use either Arcanist Brand linked to Desecrate, or you can use like a Spell Totem linked to Desecrate. The mana is also kind of a bit of a problem, but not really a big problem, just like Enduring Mana Flask and problem solved. Right, like I said, gloves, conversion, and Anev. Also squeezed in aspect of the spider for extra damage. The anointment I forgot. Intuitively, pretty much just to get a bit of a recoup. And then these two. These two do give quite a bit of damage and reservation because I'm using 3 heralds. The last cluster jewel went for the dexterity because dexterity need quite a bit of dexterity for this, or at least I needed before, maybe now I don't. But mainly I was using Volatile Dead, which I'm not, well, I'm still using it, but it doesn't require that much dex. I actually don't remember why I needed that much dex. I also have Onslaught on a hit tattoo in here, and then I'm just missing 2 more jewels here and here. Cast speed is pretty important, so that's what the jewel is. 35 effect, cast speed, and then dexterity. So yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. Let me know in the comments below, like I said, if you got some ideas how to automate this and what to use this for. I already planned my next build. It's gonna be a return of turbo golems. It's just gonna be kind of like a meme, not really a meme build. It's just for a display for the most part, not really a serious build. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.